made the Game of Thrones reference because I absolutely love that show, at least the first 5 seasons of it. And could you imagine that? And I know there have been attempts to make it into a game, and most of them have failed. But could you imagine if they made a Game of Thrones game today, which it would have to have all of these things that you can see on the screen? I mean, the instrumental element that caused the whole Game of Thrones was the incestuous relationship between Cersei and Jaime Lannister, right? If it wasn't for their relationship, the kiddo, Bran or Bronn, one of those, wouldn't have been pushed down the castle to his near death, and the whole Game of Thrones wouldn't have begun in nearly the same way. I think that's why it's absolutely essential, ladies and gentlemen, that there shouldn't be a place for censorship, and we should let the people decide what they want and what they don't want. If they want this stuff in their games, great. And if there's another subset of gaming that doesn't want this in their games, then we don't have it in gaming. That's the sort of thing.
It should be a choice, what we want and what we don't want.
Yes.
We're the adults. We made the decisions. We buy what we buy. If we don't like it, we return it. If we see something that we don't like, we don't buy it.
That is all connected to the UK, like with the Child Safety Act, and that all of these are connected. All of these are one big net that is operating simultaneously to impose global censoring.
Yeah, and we don't need these activists controlling the narratives of what we do. We're adults. We know exactly what education is. These people don't. These people are not educated. They're ideology. What they call it? Ideology.
Ideologues.
There you go.
Yeah, it's interesting, Dan, that you mentioned that we're all educated, but you don't know how to say ideologue.
Kai, it's just hard to pronounce this shit. That's the reason why I get too excited pronouncing shit.
Well, don't worry, Dan. Helzo is not an English first speaker. Jose isn't. Dan isn't. So I understand. Second language.
I actually learned English first, and my Spanish is less than my English. Believe it or not.
So you did it backwards. Kai, what do you make of all this?
It's just the whole entire thing of like how Helzo was saying that they're consistent with the bullshit that they keep on spewing out. But it's also the fact that you're also very selective on like what it is that you want to be offended about, because it's like you go in after the Visa and MasterCard telling them that you need to make sure like all this stuff doesn't get processed through and all that, and then they're making their whole entire claims on how it's damaging to the brand, but then they're perfectly fine with whatever that little rapper that just turned 18 decided to open up an OnlyFans the moment she turns 18.
Yeah,
they're perfectly fine with that shit.
Yeah,
Little Tay.
Yeah,
it's just like like I said, you're only very selective with what it is that you feel like you want to be offended about, but in actuality, you don't believe in anything that you're trying to spew out. It's like you're just wanting control. That's all it is. They just want control.
If I may, just for a minute, before I pass to Roadkill. The thing is that she turned like with Lotte, she turned 18, but she's still doing stuff that a lot of people would consider stupid or idiotic. That which basically showcases that even though you're an adult, you can still be a dumbass. So and that's basically, you can follow the wheel or the thread. You have people that are being raised to be basically subpar in terms of at least emotional intelligence. Then you go and say that you need to protect children and you need to protect people, and you need also to protect adults, because adults have apparently, even though they're adults and they're legal and they can do pretty much everything. They have no impulse control, and that's why you're banning dangerous games. Because apparently, from the collective shout's perspective, if you play an adult sexual game, you immediately become a sexual predator. That is their supposed mindset. And I think each and every one of us has played games that are violent in their lives at a certain level. You can turn to Monopoly. You understand, or Uno, or whatever, or any video game. But we have turned out okay, which defeats the purpose. But they're trying to shove that purpose, and the thread is going that you're raising adults that have no impulse control. They do stupid things, and that gives power to companies like this to present their vile case. That's all I'm going to say about the matter, because it is all connected when you look at it. It is something that has been happening for a long time, in my opinion, and it's now just coming into fruition.
You know what I think started this collective shout thing? I think ultimately one of these women who probably does have a child somewhere probably saw her son play Grand Theft Auto and then caught him, cranking it to the load screen in a sock. Like a couple hours later, it's like, oh no, now I'm on a crusade. Like they do seem to take it very personally.
First of all, it's her fucking fault.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
They don't want to
fault.
be parents, like we said with Roblox.
You know what I'm saying? It's her fault. These parents. Let me tell you something right now. When I used to buy massive video games from GameStop, right? I used to go to GameStop all the time for the hottest titles. I walked in there and I saw a mom, a mother, and then later complained about it, but a mother buy a Grand Theft Auto 5 when it first came out to a child that was fucking 5 to 6 years old. Whose fault is it? The fucking bitch.
Yo, Dan, I got one for you on that. I used to work at Toys R Us in the video game section, and GTA San Andreas came out. Yeah. And this guy walks up to buy the game for his 8-year-old son. And I said, you do realize if you turn this around, this game has this, you can, commit crimes. You can, there's partial nudity, there's strip clubs, all this stuff. Like, I don't care. My son wants it. Right. I said, just so you know, once you open this game, you can't return it. So I've given you fair warning. Dude comes back 2 hours later, pops the game on the desk at customer service. Why are you returning the game? I can't have this. The content is inappropriate for my son. I said, did I not tell you 2 hours ago not to buy this game? And he says, well, what am I supposed to do with it? I said, well, you're old enough to play it, so I guess you're a gamer now.
And the thing is, these people, like the parents out there, they don't play games, so they don't even know what they're buying for their kids. Exactly. But if you get to educate yourself on what you're buying and what they play, you will never have that problem of purchasing that game for your kid. Right. And the problem is, it's the parents' fault. A lot of these parents, like that we are talking about, oh, I don't play video games. Okay, fine. You don't have to play video games, but at least educate yourself about it and learn how to learn what you're gonna buy for your son next. If your son wants Mario and it's an innocent game and you know everything about Mario, it's okay for your son to play it. But if you have to know other games too. If you want, I want this game. This game turned out to be, sexual explicit content, adult content. And guess what? You buy the game, you see your son playing it. Oh, now you're gonna complain about it, and then you want to complain to the developers that made it, and this you want to make a cult about it to make a ban for it.
That is why old school gamer parents are going to be the best forever. But before we move to the final topic, Roadkill, what are your thoughts on the absolutely amazing collective Karen shout that I would love to call them from now on?
I personally know a few in real life. I'm not friends with them, but I have to put up with them thanks to my my kids being friends with their kids. But it's like Ryan, I think, mentioned earlier. No, Ryan's not here. I was talking about I meant to say Dan, but it was probably Digny. But was saying earlier about, once you cut something off, it's going to be like a fungus. It's just going to keep growing. So collective shout is not going anywhere.
How dare you compare Dan to a fungus, Roadkill? How dare you?
Do I look like that? Do I look like a fucking mushroom from the Mario?
I didn't
you
mean
look
to,
like
dude.
a
Look, I misspoke. All right, smack me in my face. And and so I think all it comes down to is Jace was just saying, Jose was just saying, is it comes down to being a parent. Nowadays, you have no excuse. This isn't 1991 where your parents bought you Mortal Kombat, or 92, 93, and they're like, oh, whoa, okay, there's blood in this, I don't like it. This is long after that, and they have the ability to text or call their friends at that time for maybe San Andreas, text their friends. They definitely had Google at that time, and just kind of look up this stuff before your kid comes home and is like, I want this. It's like, okay, all right. Now understand that as a parent, you have to realize that whatever's going on in their culture at that time is not yours. So you have to be a parent and look into it, just like I had to find out what the fuck skibbity toilet meant. Like you have to you have to be a fucking parent, dude.
No,
like you have
don't
to
mention that.
I'm sorry, but I'm saying when I first heard that, I was like, what is this shit? And so I went to go look into it myself. I didn't just sit there and go, huh, kids, or just buy them a game and throw them in the room by themselves. I don't know. My parents weren't that vigilant on it because they thought video games were what they grew up with, Pong, the Vectrex and things like that. But I was sitting there playing Baldur's Gate, Vice City in my teenage years. But I knew, I don't know. We come from a different time where video games didn't affect us that much. I didn't like these kids nowadays. They're growing up on multiplayer. You got headsets on. You're talking to people from all around the world. They're saying awful things to one another. When I stepped into that realm in my 20s, I was like, okay, I hope there's not kids in here. Next thing you know, I'm fighting with a 10-year-old, and his mom his mom comes in the room and she's like, dinner, hun, and he's like, not right now. And I was like, dude, how old are you? And I was like, what the fuck, dude?
You're one of the Roblox predators.
I know, right? That's what it felt like, bro. What it felt like. Like as soon as you could hear the kid's voice, but you're like, all right, whatever. Maybe he's mature. Maybe he's he's playing the game well. He's doing well. But no, it was like after that, like it was an immediate response, mentally, not physiologically, but mentally of, all right, this is not cool. And if the kids want to take over that platform, go ahead, go be kids, go have fun, go play with sticks in the woods. But for with the collective shout thing, I think that they're no matter, just like with the Roblox thing, no matter what you do, there's always going to be a way around it. There's always going to be some sort of funding or support for the other side. And should they all die and burn in hell? Some of them, I'm not going to be a complete asshole, but I think what they're doing is just they're hating on something they don't even understand. And a lot of them, not all of them. There's a few in the front seat driving, a couple of them, but the rest are like, yeah. They're just rabble-rousers. That's what we call them. It's just a bunch of, sign carrying, this is what I believe in. Do you really believe in that? Because have you looked into it? So, I don't know. I'm going to shut up. I yield my time to Furious Dan.
And anything about gaming.
Well, it's not 1994 anymore. Right. We don't need another ESRB that will destroy our rights now.